I'm trying to catch you properly.
Okay. Wait.
So we don't have to.
But I will be here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's just that we don't want to interrupt you in your thoughts. So.
Yeah, don't interrupt me because I'll like freeze.
Take care of the position.
Listo.
Biliyor musun fotoğraflarımı çekiyor şu anda arkadan bir sürü. I'm so nervous. I broke my hand.
No. Microphone.
But I think here is a microphone. You can hear me like this, yes?
Ariana, el micrófono este funciona, ¿verdad? Okay, o tiene que usar este.
I cannot hold it.
Yo creo que-
Okay, I'm not going to hold anything else. That's fine.
Ahí está detectando, pero no te sientes,
Should I start?
habla un momento,
Probando, lo apagué.
es
Probando.
secretario.
Yes? Yeah. Say something.
Say something? I'm saying something?
Something.
Something. Something. Nice, very nice to meet you.
Okay.
It's working.
Okay.
It changed my laughing also in Spanish, yes? No? Are you doing the translation?
The translation is no, right?
Let me introduce
Yeah,
myself.
So we can start now.
Hey everybody, good morning. Okay, my name is Miray. I'm from Cyprus. I'm working in Cyprus University, Cyprus Bahçeşehir University. I'm a retired, but originally I'm Turkish. We have been in Turkey for a very long time. Then we moved into Cyprus because I got retired from Istanbul University. So I continue my works in Cyprus. I'm a part-time teacher there. And okay, my proficiency is on Indian and Chinese philosophy and logic. So I see philosophy in a more practical way. That's why I opened my company on philosophical counseling 2 years ago. So the whole work is all related with this thing about counseling. Because during the counseling, you should use some methods, and which we usually using is like a logic-based therapy, which is Edith Cohen was the pioneer of this. And so I hope you'll enjoy my talk. I have to say this is not a finished work. We're still working on this. So I remove. Okay, so this present, and I'm going to read so you can follow me from here. Can you read the screen? Is it clear? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So this presentation lays the groundwork for our ongoing studies at the INIF Philosophical Counseling Center. And this integration, which is, okay, we are trying to integrate giant logic with the square of opposition. Before I start, I want to say something else. In Crete, I was talking about giant logic, where I wanted to relate it with the hexagon. I wanted to show it on the hexagon, but as far as I see, it's impossible to show the subalternations. I couldn't manage to find the true relations through relating between them. So I stopped there. I don't know if you help me, maybe we can do it later all together. So this integration reveals shared logical foundations of ancient Indian and classical Western logic, enhancing our understanding of complex ideas and interactions. So this work is foundational for exploring how these philosophical and logical tools can support mental health and well-being, known as holistic logic philosophical therapy, as we are calling it. By leveraging the strengths of logic-based therapy, the square of opposition, and I say it on account of what I hear, but it's like giant logic, I'm going to talk about it. It aims to provide a multi-phase approach to the therapy. I changed it. So here you see that our key concepts are like the giant logic, logic-based therapy, and the square of opposition. So the square of opposition, as we know that, it's a framework illustrating logical relationships. And logic-based therapy is a therapeutic method that uses logic to improve emotional well-being. And I have to say that the logic-based therapy already uses square of opposition for finding the client's faultiness. And giant logic here is like it has two components, which we are going to hang on. It's like anakantavada, and anakantavada means like non-absolutism, and syatvada, there is another concept. We call it like a conditional predication. So if we talk about a little bit clearly about them, anakantavada, so we are going to talk about the spheres, and then I'm going to tell you about the integrations between them. So anakantavada, which is non-absolutism, emphasizes the multi-phase nature of the truth, suggesting that no single perspective can capture the entirety of the reality. And it encourages considering multiple viewpoints to recognizing that truth can be conditional or contextual. And beside it, another concept that belongs to giant logic is syatvada, which I said conditional predication. It states that assertions about the reality are true only in certain contexts or under specific conditions. And it encourages the flexible approach to understanding and describing the world. Right now, I have to tell you like the giant logic. Giant logic is a base, sound base of their metaphysical approaches. And when I say metaphysical approaches, as I told you, it's not only like the ontology, but when I say metaphysics, it's also related with their beliefs. So the whole logical frame supports the idea of their metaphysics and ontology. Can we change it? No. Okay. I don't know what else to say. No. So I can continue. So if we look at the logic-based therapy, okay. So the logic-based therapy uses the formal logic to identify and correct irrational beliefs and faulty thinking patterns, and focuses on enhancing emotional and behavioral outcomes by promoting rational thinking. So when it is on the therapeutic when it is as a therapeutical, how do you say it? Therapeutical techniques, it encouraged clients to examine and challenge their beliefs using logical analysis and supports the development of rational alternatives to irrational thoughts. Change. And then we have another component as the logical square of opposition. As a logical framework, it represents the relationships between the four types of categorical propositions. As we know, universal affirmative, universal negative, particular affirmative, and particular negative. And it helps identify the contradictions and relationships between statements, facilitating clearer thinking and reasoning. That's why logic-based therapy applies to square of opposition when they are doing their therapeutic activities during the session. Of course, they don't say it, they use it. So if we come to overlaps and the integration between them, so if we hand giant logic and logic-based therapy, you see here the integration, it both gives us this holistic perspectives. So both emphasize the importance of considering multiple perspectives and understanding the complexity of human experiences. And logic-based therapies focus on rational analysis, complements giant logic emphasizes on non-absolutism and providing a well-rounded approach to the therapy. If we look at the giant logic and the square of opposition, if we look at the integration between them, so it is both about non-absolutism and logic. So the square of opposition provides a abstract way to analyze propositions, while giant logic encourages viewing these propositions from multiple angles. And this combination helps in understanding and resolving contradictions and fostering a more nuanced view of the truth. And there we can also talk about the integration between logic-based therapy and the square of opposition. There we are talking about here the rational analysis. So logic-based therapy uses logical principles to identify and address faulty thinking, and the square of opposition aids in visualizing and understanding the logical relationships. And this synergy enhances the effectiveness of therapeutic interventions by providing clear frameworks for analyzing the beliefs. Well, before that, you see, oh, can we come back? So see, in here, in the middle, what we are saying is, what we are trying to do is, by leveraging the strengths of logic-based therapy, square of opposition, and giant logic, as I said, we are trying to provide a multi-phased approach to the therapy, if it's possible. Okay, so, no, yes. So, in sum, I can say this integration, the philosophical integration Venn diagram, demonstrates how combining giant logic, logic-based therapy, and the square of opposition can create a comprehensive and effective model for counseling and therapy. By leveraging the strengths of each framework, we are offering a multi-phase approach that fosters understanding, empathy, and rational thinking. And this integration highlights the potential for using diverse philosophical and logical traditions to support mental health and personal growth, offering robust solutions to complex issues. And this integrative approach not only empowers clients to gain deeper insights into their beliefs and behaviors, but also equips therapists with diverse tools to address a wide range of challenges. So, if we handle them one by one, the square of opposition illustrates relationship between the propositions developed by Aristotle, refined by the logicians, and those relationships help us to understand the logical contradictions and implications. When we look at the diagram, here the diagram illustrates this relationship visually, providing a clearer understanding of how propositions are interact between each other. And we can consider examples where these relationships apply in philosophical and everyday contexts. You see, you have been, since the beginning of this Congress, we have been talking about the integrations between them. So I'm not going, the relationships between them. So I'm not going to focus on them so much. But as we know that the key relationships between those propositions are like, if it's between A and E, it's like both cannot be true, but both can be false. And when we look at the contradictory positions, we see A and O, E and I, and it's like if one is true, the other must be false. And the subcontrary relationship between I and O is like both cannot be false, but both can be true. And if we look at the subalternation, A and I and the E and O, the truth flows downward. If A is or E is true, then the I and O must be true. So this is this is what we know exactly in a very simple way. So for us, for this work, the importance of the square of opposition is the square of opposition provides a strict framework for analyzing logical relationships between the propositions. And by understanding these relationships, we can better navigate complex philosophical debates and make informed decisions in everyday life. 2 days ago, when I was here, there was a professor who asked me, what is the real importance of the square of opposition? And I said, Giulio, you explain why it is so important. I threw the ball to Giulio, but so this is the answer, I believe. We cannot ignore the facts of its useness in our life, in our daily lives, or our debates when we are using it. We use it, even though we don't know that we are using it. So, as I said, we can see it in everyday life or decisions when we do decisions. For example, let's go with the examples in an everyday context. So it can be about the dietary choice. So I may say all fruits are healthy to eat, and Pablo can tell me no fruits are healthy to eat, and Taurus can tell me some fruits are healthy to eat, and maybe Julia will say some fruits are not healthy to eat. So when this is the application, it's going to be like this. It's like if all fruits are healthy to eat is true, then some fruits are not healthy to eat must be false, and vice versa. Or both can be true, not all fruits can be healthy if no fruits are healthy, but both can be false if some fruits are healthy and some are not. Both, and also both in the sub-contrary position, both cannot be false, meaning that it cannot be the case that no fruits are healthy and no fruits are unhealthy. At least one must be true. And the sub-alternation position, if all fruits are healthy to eat is true, then some fruits are healthy to eat is also true. And similarly, if no fruits are healthy to eat is true, that some fruits are not healthy to eat is also true. Well, we can also use it in a philosophical context, in debates, the talkings. So we would like to talk about the ethical universalism versus ethical relativism. So I might say all actions guided by moral principles are ethical. And some will say no actions guided by moral principles are ethical. Or one other person says some actions guided by moral principles are ethical, and some actions guided by moral principles are not ethical by some other person. So one of us must be true. Like, can you imagine there's a group and we are all supporting all those ideas? So we will see. And we will see that if all actions guided by moral principles are ethical is true, then some actions guided by moral principles are not ethical must be false, or vice versa. And then this person should be out of the debate. Yes? Can we do this in normal life? Can we ignore this person like that easily? Or we can talk about the bold, all actions guided by moral principles are ethical and no actions guided by moral principles are ethical cannot be true. However, both can be false if some actions are ethical and some are not. So the sub-contrary relationship will be like both cannot be false, meaning it's impossible that neither some actions guided by moral principles are ethical, nor some actions guided by moral principles are not ethical, can be true. At least one must hold. And the sub-alternation position, if all actions guided by moral principles are ethical is true, then the some actions guided by moral principles are ethical is also true. Similarly, if no actions guided by moral principles are ethical is true, then some actions guided by moral principles are not ethical is true. Well, so how are we going to apply it to the counseling? Because these examples, it looks like a very simple examples, but they are these are the subjects that people are coming for counseling. It's like they're having problems about having so much weight, and it affects their lives. Or like the ethical choices that affects their life also. So we can give an example on self-worthiness. Did we change it? No, we are not in the same place. Yes, self-worthiness. So, for example, let's say there's a philosophical counseling and we are going to hold the concept on self-worthiness. This is the most fundamental problem of the humanity, I think, the self-worthiness. Do we know how valuable are we? Or are we looking for some people to show us how valuable we are? Huh? So in that concept, by using the square, we can say all people are worthy of love and respect. And we can say no people are worthy of love and respect. Some people are worthy of love and respect, and particularly negatively, it's like some people are not worthy of love and respect. So can we change it?
Sorry.
So if we apply the square, I'm continue, so you're gonna see on the slide that there is an explanation. So applying the square of a position to this example, so we say if all people are worthy of love and respect is true, then some people are not worthy of love and respect must be false. In counseling context, affirming that everyone has intrinsic worth counters the belief that some individuals are undeserving of love and respect. So if we go with the contrary position, both all people are worthy of love and respect and no people are worthy of love and respect cannot be true simultaneously. However, they can be both false if we consider that not all people might feel they are worthy, but that doesn't mean that no one is worthy. So this helps in counseling to navigate between the extremes of self-perception and develop a balanced view. This is how they use it. So in subcontrary positions, some people are worthy of love and respect, and some people are not worthy of love and respect cannot be false. And this acknowledges while some may struggle with self-worthiness, there are others who recognize their intrinsic value, highlighting the diversity of human experiences. And if we look at the subalternation relation, if all people are worthy of love and respect is true, then it follows that some people are worthy of love and respect is also true. And similarly, if no people are worthy of love and respect is true, then some people are not worthy of love and respect is also true. So in counseling, reinforcing positive self-worth can help validate individual experiences of feeling worthy. I'll stop there because we can give so many examples. We can do so many examples altogether, but we don't have that much time. So I'm going to jump into the second component where logic-based therapy, which is logic-based therapy, which I also said that they're already following this. They're already using this. So it uses logic to correct faulty thinking patterns, and its core principles, the logic-based therapy's core principles is identifying the irrational beliefs and logical errors and replacing irrational beliefs with rational alternatives. Yeah. So let's say there's a scenario like a client experiences anxiety about public speaking like me due to a belief that making a mistake will ruin their reputation. And the application is using logic-based therapy to identify and challenge irrational beliefs, helping the client reframe thoughts and the practice new beliefs. It's supposed to be in that way. So how they do it, there are some steps. The steps are like, I'm not going to go in through this, but it's like the steps are for the application is like the identifying the irrational beliefs, analyzing the logical flaws, reframe the beliefs, and practice the new beliefs, and reflecting and adjusting it. So the third component, which is giant logic, you see, I told you that the whole logical structure based on their supports their metaphysical and ontological thoughts. And here you see the levels of the cognition of the person. Okay. So now I'll talk about this a little bit in soon. So the content is here in giant logic. We are focusing during considering the counseling. We are focusing on two concepts, which can we relate with the square of opposition, or we can apply in the square of opposition. So it's like one is anakantavada, non-absolutism, truth is multifaceted. An example that there is a very good example that explains why they think like this, how they define this. So there is a parable on the blind man and the elephant. I'm going to talk about it. And there is also Siyadwada. Siyadwada means conditional predication. That means the truth depends on conditions. So there's a jar example. We can talk about it. We will talk about it a little bit. And the thing is, their replication during the counseling session will help encouraging the empathy and the tolerance. This is the main idea of Jain logic, Jain philosophy at all. So if we talk a little bit about it, Anekantavada, non-absolutism, multiple viewpoints, and it's the core principle of Jain philosophy. Anekantavada is a core principle of Jain philosophy, emphasizing the multi-phased nature of truth and reality. And it suggests that no single viewpoint can capture the entire reality, as truth is complex and has many aspects. And this principle encourages openness to different perspectives and highlights the limitations about absolute claims. And then Anekantavada is like non-absolutism, asserts that reality is So the key concepts of Anekantavada is like non-absolutism, pluralism, and complementarity. So non-absolutism is like, as I said, reality is complex and cannot be fully understood from a single perspective. It encourages openness into various viewpoints and interpretations. And the pluralism is like the philosophy supports pluralism by acknowledging that different perspectives may offer valid insights into the same reality. And complementarity, the concept of complementarity is like, rather than seeing differing views of contradictory, Anekantavada views them as a complementary, each adding a layer, like an onion, layer to the understanding of the truth. You open the layers, you get the truth, but you cannot be sure if you don't see the layers. You cannot be able to know the truth as a whole, as absolutely. So, as I said, there's an elephant example. Okay, so this parable of the blind man and elephant story is like a classic one. It's interesting that the Jain philosophers mentioned about this. And also in Rumi, in Islamic philosophy, they also use it as an example. So it is a very common example on the Eastern thought. So this is how Eastern people, I will tell you, it's like, for me, it is interesting to talk about this because this is how I see world. I cannot see black and white. I don't comprehend black and white differences. I cannot see words like this. I cannot say yes or no. So this is how my brain works. So when I met with the Jain logic and with these examples, that made sense to me, that who I am and how am I thinking. See? So this parable is like, for example, there are like some blind men. They are all touching the different parts of the elephant. So the one touched the tail and it says like elephant. Elephant is it's like a rope. And the one who touched the ear says that, oh, I can define elephant with an example as like, it is a fan. It is a fan. So the one that touches the leg, which is a strong and thick leg, so he says like, oh, it's a tree. It's like a tree. But the interpretation is each blind man's perspective is partially correct. They are not false. So in Siyadvada, we will see Saptabanginaya, sevenfold predication. That's what they are trying to say. You cannot say true or false for each and every different ideas, inferences. So they are partially correct based on their limited experiences. And this is how we experience the world at all. We are limited. However, none of them have the complete picture of what an elephant is true, what elephant truly is. So here, application of Anekantavada is like, this parable illustrates that how these different perspectives can provide partial truths. Oh, you don't hear me? You hear me now? my voice is a little bit high. I didn't want to ignore you. It's like, okay. So to fully understand the elephant, one must consider all the viewpoints. This is how they see the world. So this parable illustrates Anekantavada by showing how each blind man perceives a different part of the elephant. And each perspective is partially true, yet incomplete, demonstrating the importance of considering the multiple viewpoints. And this story highlights the need for a holistic understanding and philosophical inquiry in everyday life. So, for giants, there is a practical usage of Anekantavada. You can think about the legal system. So, let's say there is in a court case, a judge must consider evidence and testimonies from multiple sources, including the witnesses, experts, and the defendant. And each party may present a different perspective on the events in question. So, in interpretation, Anekantavada encourages the judge to consider all perspectives are arrived at a fair and balanced judgment. An application of Anekantavada will be by acknowledging the validity of different viewpoints, the judge can make a more informed and just decision, which is not happening at all. So another practical usage of Anekantavada would be in the interdisciplinary researches. We change it. So let's say there's a research team and they are studying on climate change impacts on ecosystems. And team members include like climatologists, ecologists, economists, and sociologists. So each expert brings a different perspective and methodology to the study. And in their it's an interpretation, the complexity of climate change requires integrating insights from multiple disciplines to develop a comprehensive understanding. And application of Anekantavada is like Anekantavada supports the integration of diverse perspectives, leading to more robust and holistic research outcomes. It can be only shown itself in the personal relationships. Let's say there is a family conflict and each member has a different perception of issue based on their experiences and emotions. And one person might feel neglected while another feels pressured to meet expectations. And the interpretation is like understanding each family member's perspective can lead an empathy and resolution. An application of Anekantavada will be like by recognizing the validity of each point, family members can work towards a solution that respects everyone's experience, and there will be a peace in the family. Yes? So after those examples, like from the daily examples that we can give, then we said that it can be useful during the counseling sessions. So let's say we can say that Anekantavada helps clients to realize their beliefs and perceptions are not absolute. By recognizing the complexity of the truth, the clients can become more open to alternative viewpoints. And counselors, in the application, the counselors can guide clients to explore multiple perspectives on their issues, reducing rigid thinking and fostering flexibility. Let's say we can give an example like a client who believes they must succeed at everything to be valuable may benefit from exploring how success and value are viewed differently in various contexts. By acknowledging that there are many ways to define the success, like a career achievements can be one of that, the personal growth will be one of that, and relationships you can be better on, the client can adopt a more balanced self-view. So, application of the Anekantavada will help encouraging the open-mindedness. Applying this and the Anekantavada will help enhancing empathy, and understanding. Like it promotes empathy by encouraging individuals to understand, appreciate different perspectives. And the counselors can use this approach to help clients to see situation from the viewpoints of others, enhancing empathy and improving the impersonal relationships. The example can be on the couple therapy. In the couple therapy, partners may have conflict perceptions and often issues, and an accountability encouraged each partner to understand the other's viewpoint, fostering empathy and collaboration in resolving conflicts. It will be addressing the cognitive distortions. May I ask how much time do I have? Yeah, so I will explain them or I'll just skip them. I'll explain them. Explain. Huh? Explain. Okay. So it will help addressing the cognitive distortions. So clients often hold cognitive distortions that contribute to anxiety and depression. And unaccountability helps challenge these distortions by presenting multiple perspectives. The counselors can help clients to see their issues in a broader context, reducing black and white thinking and promoting a more balanced outlook. So we can give an example like a client who believes, if I'm not perfect, I'm a failure, can be guided to see that this belief is one of many possible interpretations. And by considering other perspectives, such as recognizing personal growth and resilience despite imperfection, the client can adopt a healthier mindset. So it can also help facilitating the personal growth and self-awareness. Unaccountability supports the personal growth by encouraging individuals to explore and integrate various facets of their identity and beliefs. So the application will be like the counselors can help clients discover how different aspects of themselves contribute to their overall identity, leading to greater self-awareness and acceptance. If we give an example, a client struggling with identity issues may benefit from exploring how different cultural, familial, and the personal influences shape their self-concept. And unaccountability encourages them to embrace the complexity of other identity and find harmony among diverse influences. It also helps enhancing problem solving and decision making. And accountability encourages considering multiple perspectives, which can enhance problem solving and decision making by providing a more comprehensive view of the situation. And if we come to the application, counselors can guide clients in weighing various options and considering the potential outcomes of their decisions from the different angles. Let's say there's a client facing a career decision can use an accountability to evaluate the options such as staying in their current job, pursuing further education, or changing fields. By considering the pros and cons from multiple perspectives, they can make a more informed decision. So if we come to the conclusion of this part, not the conclusion of the talk, conclusion of this unaccountability part, unaccountability offers a framework for exploring the complexity and multi-phase nature of the truth in counseling. By applying this philosophy, counselors can help clients develop greater flexibility, empathy, and understanding. And this approach encourages clients to embrace the complexity of their experiences and consider multiple viewpoints, leading more adaptive and holistic ways of thinking and interacting with the world. Through unaccountability, clients can gain deeper insights into their thoughts and emotions, facilitating personal growth and improved mental well-being. So we can show how it can be applied in real life counseling, and this example will illustrate how considering multiple perspectives can lead to better understanding, empathy, and problem solving. So let's say there's a problem issue on overcoming perfectionism. You have to be perfect to be valued. So there's a client struggles with perfectionism, believing that must be perfect in everything I do or I am a failure. So this belief leads to anxiety, self-doubt, and the fear of failure in the personal life of his, in their life. So application of Anekantavada, the counselor can help him or her to see the multiple perspectives, like as the counselor helps the client to explore different viewpoints on success and the failure. They discuss how success can be defined in various ways, such as personal growth, effort, and resilience. Then they can focus on the realization. The client begins to see that perfection is only one perspective and that there are many valid measures of worth and success. And the outcome will be like, by embracing more nuanced view of success, the client reduces their anxiety and develops healthier self-esteem. They start to set realistic goals and appreciate their achievements, even when imperfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. So there can be more examples during the counseling session. The person can come like a come with navigating relationship conflicts, coping with career transitions, addressing cultural identity issues, which you can see in Cyprus a lot because we are very mixed group in Cyprus, and managing anxiety about uncertainty. So we will jump into the next component. It's a Siyatvada, which I said conditional predication, or we say conditional truth. Excuse me for a minute. Thank you. So Siyatvada is a key doctrine in Jain philosophy that complements Anekantavada by focusing on the conditional and contextual nature of the truth. It asserts that any statement can only be true under certain conditions, promoting a flexible and nuanced understanding of reality. Oh, I was just going to say the definition of Abhaktavyam, and Owen had to go, I think. Yes. Oh, sorry. So it asserts that any statement can only be true under, I said this, under certain conditions. So it introduces the concept of siyat, that means in some respect, or from a certain perspective, to express this conditionality. For example, I told you we can give a jar example. So the jar is large is true relative to the cup, but not to a house. So the key concepts of Siyatvada is like conditional truth and sevenfold predication. So conditional truth, Siyatvada posits that truth is not absolute, but dependent on various conditions and perspectives. And sevenfold predication is Siyatvada uses a method called Saptabhangi. It means sevenfold predication, and to analyze the nature of statements, considering multiple perspectives and conditions. So there you see sevenfold predication of Jain logic. So the first one is like Siyat Asti. I don't know if you are familiar with the Jain logic. Yes? A little bit. So do you want me to tell about it? Okay. So because I was going to skip it, I put it for Owen. Owen just left. Okay. So Siyat Asti means in some ways it is. So it's P. Siyat Nasti, Nasti is the negation, Nasti is the negation. Asti is the affirmation. So Siyat Nasti means in some ways it is not P. And then there is the third step, it says siat asti nasti. In some way it is, and it is not. So it is like P and non-P. And there is that stage, siat avactaviam. In some ways, it is indescribable. We cannot say enough about it. It's the comprehension of P negation of P and non-P. So the fifth step is like a siat asti avactaviam. In some ways it is and it is indescribable. And the sixth is like siat nasti avactaviam. In some ways it is not and it's indescribable. And the seventh is like here we can see it more clearly. Okay, so in the first one it says like the first predicate persons then an assertion. And the second one is like a predicate pertains to a denial. The third one, when it's like it is and it is not, it pertains successive assertion and denial. It is successively accepting it, comprehending it. And the fourth one is like, it comprehends the P and non-P simultaneously. So the fifth predicate pertains to an assertion and simultaneous assertion and denial. And the sixth one is like a sixth predicate pertains to denial and simultaneous assertion and denial. And the seventh predicate pertains to a successive assertion and denial and simultaneous assertion and denial. So this is the given translation, but I say that it's better considering the definition of Naya in Sanskrit. So it comes to the certain point of view, not arguably, we don't argue about it, in some certain point of view. So here in the steps, we hear this avactaviam, and avactaviam, by avactaviam, we should understand that there is that state which is not positively describable, not accurately describable, or not completely describable, both asti and nasti, positive and negative, non-distinctively in the existence of a thing without causing any contradiction. So they do not accept they do not accept the theory of they comprehend the contradiction. That's the thing. So in practical terms, Siatfada's sevenfold predication encouraged open-mindedness and recognition that truth is often context and dependent. It helps individuals and counselors explore complex issues from multiple perspectives, facilitating greater understanding and empathy. The thing is, I was going to tell you this, so how they are talking about those steps. You see in those steps, their reasoning force are related with the cognition levels. So there is a level they call Kevala. Kevala is the state when you reach at the state of moksha, liberation. Okay. So it is another step of the cognition. We can, as a normal, ordinary people, we can only talk until here. The fourth step. Panda. I showed you this at the beginning.
Sorry to interrupt. Perfect knowledge is like omniscience.
It is like you can say that, yes, but it's also I don't know how to, it's like It is, you know the reincarnation. Okay. So in Jain way of reincarnation, when you reach the moksha state, you are not being distinguished. It's not like nirvana. It's one step above nirvana, because if you are in nirvana, then everything finished. There's nothingness. This is more than nothingness. This is comprehending nothingness, as a whole unit. So maybe it can be the cognition ability of daily saying, like God's cognition. Not good enough, because if it's supposed to be like the God's cognition, it's supposed to be affirming all of those steps also. So it's one level below than the God's cognition. Does it make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. Because you see on by the sixth one is with telepathy. Telepathical cognition is the sixth step. So there is the fifth step is like a clairvoyance. Says here, clairvoyance. It's getting bigger and bigger, wiser and wiser. But let's go back to the counseling. So as I said, if we illustrate Sayadvada with the jar example, so consider a clay jar that is a large when compared to the cup, but small when compared to the house. So interpretation will be like the jar is large, true, when you compare to a cup. The jar is not large, false, when you compared it with a house. And the jar is large and not large, depends on the objects of the comparison. And when it's about, say, alactavium, as I said, so the size of the jar cannot be fully captured in a single comparison. So it helps us not to see world like between two poles, you see, not black and white, not true or false. So it can be applied in ethical dilemmas, like consider that there is a situation where lying might save someone's life. So we can say, is lying is ethical because it's going to save a life. So interpretation of using Sayadvada will be like, lying is ethical, true if it saves the life and prevents harm. Lying is not ethical, false if it undermines trust and integrity. Lying is ethical and not ethical, depends on the context and the consequences. And there is this, the ethical, Abhaktavian position, like the ethical nature of lying cannot be fully expressed in absolute terms. So you can just leave it there. Also, it can be applied into the personal relationships. Like a friend promises to help with tasks, but not able to do so. To our unforeseen circumstances can we say that it's a friend who we can rely on? So interpretation of Sayadvada will be like the friend is reliable, true based on the past consistent behavior. The friend is not reliable, false in this specific instance of inability to help. So Sayad Asinas, the friend is reliable and not reliable depends on the specific situations. So here the not is like none. I told you about yesterday. So they have two kinds of negation. So when I say there is none apple in the basket. So it's like there is an apple somewhere, but not in the basket. Okay. And it's like if I say not apple, it's completely denies that there is not such a thing as an apple. You see? So there's two kinds of negation they are using while they are doing this sevenfold predication. So yeah, This is, and in the Octavian situation, it's like the reliability of rent cannot be fully described without the context, which will help us during the counseling. So application of CF model can help us to encourage open-mindedness again. Like it helps clients to see that their benefits and the perceptions are not absolute, but depend on various conditions and contexts. And counselors can use CF model to help clients to understand that there are multiple ways to view a situation, encouraging open-mindedness and reducing rigid thinking. A client, for example, a client may feel that there are failure because they didn't achieve a specific goal. Using Setvada, a counselor can help the client to see that while they may not have succeeded in this instance, which is Setasni, they have succeeded in other areas, which we'll call as Setasti, and their self-worth is not solely dependent on this outcome, which is going to be considered as a Octavian position. Okay, so it can also help us promoting empathy and understanding. So by recognizing that each person's truth is influenced by their unique experiences and perspectives, Setvada fosters an empathy. So counselors can encourage clients to consider the perspectives of others, promoting empathy and improving relationships. So in couples therapy session, one partner may feel neglected because the other is spending more time at work. Setvada can help both partners to understand that each has valid feelings and perspectives. The working partner may be striving for financial security, which is Setasti, while the other feels neglected, Setnasti, and recognizing both truths can lead to a more empathetic and productive conversion, which is going to be Octavian stage. So it will help addressing cognitive distortions. How much time we have? Yeah, so I can skip because so this is the general idea. I think it's clear. So it will help us addressing cognitive distortions, and it can help us to have facilitating personal growth as it did in the Seattle of Octavian. And it will help us enhancing decision making. And in this conclusion, Setvada teaches us that truth is often conditional and context dependent. By considering the seven-fold predication, we can develop a more nuanced understanding of complex issues, avoiding rigid and absolute thinking. And this approach encourages flexibility and open-mindedness, which are crucial in personal, ethical, and philosophical discussions. By applying Setvada, individuals can embrace uncertainty and complexity, leading to a more comprehensive and empathetic understanding of the world. And Setvada, with its emphasis on the conditional nature of truth and its flexible approach to understanding the reality, can be a powerful tool in counseling. It encourages both counselors and clients to explore multiple perspectives and recognize the complexity of human experiences. So usually, I told you about the flow chart of you cannot come with me, right? Case study. If you go back, oh, it's too much. So we will come back again. So I told you about the steps of the application of logic-based therapy. Yes, you remember identifying irrational beliefs. Yes, here, analyzing logical flaws, reframing beliefs, practicing new beliefs, and reflecting and adjusting. Let's go back to where we are. So this is a new chart that we think, because it's like, okay, and this is the place where we have to work on, okay? This is the part that which is not finished yet. So what we are trying to do is to integrate philosophical concepts of giant logic into a therapeutic model, as we call like logic-based therapy, which is already applies square opposition during the process. Other than square opposition, they are applying to Socratic dialogue and also cognitive behavioral therapy. So, And this integration will be like this now. So we say that we can identify perfectionist beliefs. We can get with this. We can explore the perspectives first with the Anakantavada. And we can analyze the conditional truths using Syadvada, as I said here. And then we can challenge and reframe beliefs by applying, by going through with the logic-based therapy, which is also using what I have been saying. It's like the square proposition, Socratic dialogue and everything. So then we can develop realistic goals and reflect and implement changes. So if we look at so combining Western and Eastern philosophical tradition enriches our understanding of complex problems. This is the point of the work, okay? And Western logic offers analytical rigor, while Eastern philosophies like Jain logic provide contextual sensitivity. And this integration encourages a more holistic approach to solve problem solving and decision making. And integrating diverse perspectives improves decision making by considering various viewpoints. And this approach encourages respectful dialogue and mutual understanding across the different fields. So examples of the explanation include philosophical, theology, law, science, and everyday interactions. We see it. So here you see the interaction. It's like the interaction of logic, nuance, understanding, and empathy, and flexibility when you bring them together. So this is the explanation of the diagram. I'm not going to give the definitions, so I can share them with you if you want to. So if we look at this middle part, which is important for us, integration of logic combines Western analytical rigor with the Eastern contextual sensitivity, creating a more holistic understanding of complex issues. Nuance and understanding supports the exploration of issues from multiple angles, leading to a more comprehensive understanding of truth. And empathy and flexibility will encourage open-minded and adaptability, recognizing the variability and complexity of human experiences. So the conclusion is, real conclusion. Are you ready for my real conclusion? Which is not a conclusion. As I told you, it's like no, it's a conclusion. It's a conclusion. I'm kidding. You see? But this is my change it now. So they will be happy to see it. So this is the bibliography. Okay, so this is the last word. So the conclusion is the integration of Western logic and Eastern philosophies like Jain logic provides a powerful framework for understanding complex issues in counseling and other contexts. So by combining analytical rigor with empathy and flexibility, this approach fosters deeper insights and more effective problem solving. This is what we are saying. So integrating the concepts is a therapeutical model. We are trying to get this. Thank you very much for listening. Well, I want to say, just to say, before you say something, it's like I know it was a quite long and too much information in one time, because different concepts, different things, but of course it's important for me to share, because this is something what we are working on, and we want to be sure that this is something really powerful and works for the counseling sessions. It is? Thank you. It seems good. I'm happy to hear this. Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the book.
Well, if you, I also want to say that, like, other than the questions, if you give me your ideas, it will be more, I will be so appreciated. Okay.
Okay, so we have a couple of minutes for a few questions. Gonzalo, Martin. Let's get started. You there?
Okay,
Very briefly, thank you for your presentation.
thank you for listening.
What century is this logic from? Because I don't know if you're familiar with Bochensky's history of Roman logic. He dedicates a big chapter to Indian logic. I skipped it, of course.
Ah.
I read it, but
It's also Hegel also mentions about the Indian logic, but I don't see it as
what
logic.
century is this logic from?
It's from the ancient times, ancient.
Uh,
It's like the era you are asking is like a 600
600 BC.
600 stores, and it's like it starts. You know, the thing is, the whole schools in India, like the Buddhist school, the Nyaya Sastra school, the Jain school, the whole philosophy schools, the whole schools of the philosophies emerged at the same time for solving the political and social issues in the society at that time. So, but what I think is, it's in my paper. It was my PhD also. I think that the Jain logic is based on Buddhist logic. How do you say it in English? There are 4 kotis in Buddhist logic. They do come to the 4th level, but with Jains. So may I show it to you? Is it okay? But how can I?
Questions. I just
Oh.
want to.
Oh, okay.
Myself in the
So-
timeline. to
Okay,
see How
okay.
how old and ancient is this,
Uh-huh.
how to compare it with.
Okay.
That's
But if you're interested, I can give you the works of mine. So which the some. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I thought that he's going to ask me. I'm looking at you. Okay.
First of all, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you
I'm
for
new to this topic, and it was very clear for me. My question is, in practical terms, for the application of Anikantabada,
Anakantamada, yes.
how can we ensure we are giving an appropriate amount of recognition to each viewpoint? In other words, how can we ensure a balance without giving too much attention to one or two viewpoints?
Okay, if I understand your question correctly, so do you ask me during the session when we are giving the huh? Your ideas, you mean it's like when you follow the steps, are we going to be focusing on one idea other than the other one? Did you ask this?
A right amount of recognition, which you.
So for this, in fact, this is a very good question, you know, because it's like once you start to apply this method, this is what I think right now. I have to this method, the last one. So you have to be sure. Okay, I told you like normally when the thing is when the people are coming to the philosophical counseling, we have to be sure that they don't have psychological problems. Okay, so we have to do this distinguishes as a philosophers, because it's not our work if there some psychological or psychiatric problems. We have to stop there. We have to be aware of this. But then your question is good, because it's like the person who comes to philosophical counseling means that he knows or she knows what is wrong in his life. We are not going deeper. We are not going back to the childhood. It's not our problem. It's Freudian. We don't do this. We know that this problem is, this person is struggling with something like self-worthiness, but he or she has some having wrong çıkarım neydi? Wrong ideas, okay, ideas, inferences. So we are, of course, using logic-based therapy in a natural way. because we see that the people always have the Western way of thinking, like the black and white and stuff. So, but you're right, because we have to give information. First, we have to give information about the method. So before you start your counseling, what you do is you are not sitting there and listening to the person and then just right away start working with her or him. You have to explain the method that you are using, okay? So he or she agrees to follow it or not. Then in here, we have to talk to them, what is this AMI method, which includes anaconda, Siyat and logic-based therapy. So we have to be sure that they comprehend the method. So they are going to find their ways. We are not saying, okay, these are, for example, let's go back to the example. It was in Octavian you mentioned, yes. And here's the example. So we are not, for example, the client says, I must be beautiful to be valued, okay? So this is the thing that the woman way of thinking. Let's say I have to be beautiful, so I will be valued. So you can work with the definition of beauty. This is what we are going to teach, not teach, sorry. This is what we are going to share with them, that in the nature, there is no such a thing as an ugliness. Whole universe. Because ugliness is human-made up thing, okay? So this is the distinction which we are going to try to help this person to comprehend. But we have to give information about the method and the logic of the Jainism or the concepts. What are we going to follow? Does it make sense to you, the answer? Yes? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm really told about these sort of applications of biomedical philosophy to everyday problems. So I really like this. So I think
Comments?
two questions. Yes.
Okay,
two
comments.
Well, two logical questions and one epistemological question. The first one is, what is the meaning of the two negation symbols that you have in the table?
I told you, I just told you, it's like in Jain logic, they are using two kinds of negation. It's not only Jain, it's the way of the Buddhist thinking also. So it's like I put two different signs to explain. If one comes to the none, one comes to the not. So non-model, when I say non-model means that there is bottle, but not there is non-model in here. So it's the bottle is not here, but somewhere in the universe, okay? But for example, me, if I die, there will be non-me, yes? Non-me, right? Because I was here, and considering the Jain philosophy and Eastern philosophy, I will be still somewhere. But if you say not Mirai, that means I was never ever exist. Okay? Is it okay?
Okay.
Okay.
But I was wondering, can we change the negations in those schemes, for example, in the first one, can we use the
No, you cannot do it because it's the way that you're understanding. It's like I know you, I know me because of you. This is how I comprehend the world. If you're the epistemology of giants also based on this, you have to comprehend P and non-P at the same time. This is the reason, but it's not P and not P. It's maybe that's why I wanted to talk with Mr. Owen. It's like this is why I asked this question when he was talking about Parmenides. So it's like it's not negating as the way that we understand. You are non-P for me. I am P and you are non-P, okay? But we both still exist and we complete each other. We know each other through each other. And I even myself, I comprehend me as non-me because I am, and I am not you at the same time.
and with the combination or with this?
I do it with this one. Yes, I showed it with this one.
Oh.
I didn't do it myself, but during this time when I was when I started to focus on giant logic, I started to talk with Fabian Shang. I don't know if you know him. Yes, Fabian Shang, and then thanks to Graham Priest, made me so many explanations, helped me to comprehend the whole things. Jean-Yves always supported that I always ask questions and I can get feedback. So this is not me doing it. It's like it's not mine. I mean, it's not mine. It was like this. This was the way that they were using it, but this is the way that I comprehended. Say, okay.
And just very quickly, I was wondering how can we deal with examples like this? For example, if each perspective is valid or partially true. For example, how can we say to a client that his perspective is wrong? For example, suppose someone, a physicist, comes to me and says, "I'm a failure because I have not published in the peer-reviewed paper," for example.
Yeah,
And I say, for example, well, you're not a failure with respect to me, but you're a failure with respect to other rights. For example, does that has any sense in this perspective? Can I say to a client something like that?
You have to think, yeah, not you have to, you can think like this. I told you the all ideas, all premises, they based on their contextual or conceptual. So the truth has so many faces, as we say that your reality is different than mine, yes? The way of you understanding world, your comprehension, even your sex is different than mine, so you comprehend it differently. I say it is why I say this, because the countries that I raised in, it's like there's a difference between men and women. Men gets everything, women are not getting that. Like even in the academy. So man gets position easier than women's. So I would say I'm not going to be a philosopher because I'm a woman. So I might have this idea, but I had to fight with this idea, yes? So this can, but for example, she can tell me that, what are you talking about? I'm a woman, that's why I can be a philosopher, because maybe in this country, they give more value to the woman philosophers, you see? So it changes. That what we have to do is we have to accept this. There is no real answer. There is no such a thing, absolute truth, I think, other than we comprehend. We couldn't comprehend. Is it okay? Thank you.
Is there any other question?
Oh, comment. Go with comments, please.
Well,
Oh, okay, good.
it seems like your talk, well, I think your talk was very successful.
Oh, thank you. That's very important for me to hear.
Enjoy much.
I was worried if I bore you.
One comment is like, it seems like behind your talk, your presentation, there's a kind of analogical reasoning. For instance, the example of the elephant,
Oh, okay.
all analogies. The elephant is a ball, the elephant is a snake, the elephant is a tree.
Okay.
And I guess analogical reasoning is in your talk. And another thing that I can see is that the metaphorical way of using, for instance, can I see the picture where you talk about navigating through relationships? There's one.
Which one?
Navigating through relationships, coping with.
Do you mean this?
No.
Well, which one?
You
Let's start from. Oh, are you moving also? Let's go.
you have the word navigating and the word coping.
Just go. Come back and come so he can show us.
Okay, in that,
Which one?
Which one?
This one?
no. Okay, in that picture, there are a lot of metaphors. Navigating is for a relationship to cope with is also a metaphor. I guess every example.
This
is a
one?
metaphor.
Maybe? Oh. No. This
No,
one?
I don't, but okay, what I wanted to say is
Okay.
there is an analogical reasoning and metaphorical reasoning in your talk.
Okay.
And I guess that's why it was so powerful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It's very important. Well, other than this, he wanted to ask something. Are you going to make a comment or ask questions? So because I think we are out of time, so you can ask me question in the break. Is it okay?
Yeah,
It's okay?
I was just going to suggest that maybe we can continue with the comments and discussion. during
After the break? Oh, during the coffee break. After the coffee break.
So-
Don't kill me.
One more time, thank you very much for the.
I want to thank you. Thank you. I want to thank you because it's like, I know it's not like a formal logic and it was more philosophical and it was all about me, but thank you for sitting here and listening and sharing your ideas. And I'm so happy with the young people who are interested in this counseling stuff. I think it's important. I got the mic, so I cannot leave the mic.